Welcome to the MotUS Edge, where we celebrate business, primarily youth sports facility management, leadership, and motivation. Co-hosted by Stacy Rowe, Cole Stott, Kevin Brubaker, and Casey Jones. We are here to fill your cup with knowledge, laughter, affirmations, and comfort knowing that you're not alone. You can and will succeed with the MotUS Edge.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the MotUS Edge, where we talk about leadership, motivation, and all things cheerleading and dance business. I am Stacy Rowe, here today with my favorite co-host, Casey Jones, and we are so excited to have John Newby and Bill Seeley from Varsity, but also the Pro Cheerleading. We're super excited to have you guys on today.
Hey, great to be here.
Two of my favorite guys.
Awesome.
They're not two of my favorite guys, if I'm being honest, but I'm happy to have them on the show.
What do we need to do to get up that list? Crying out loud.
I mean, my dad, my husband, my brother.
Top 50.
There's a lot of people
I
to
just
beat.
want top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, now if you guys are coming in just under family, then it's fine. So
I mean, I didn't say that. I was just saying that.
I know you're much further down.
My
from
son.
There, but,
no, I'm kidding.
I actually like you guys better than some of my family, so it's okay.
I love Casey. I love me some Casey. We're going to go climb mountains together.
We are, man. We are. That's coming up here at the end of the summer. So
Newby, will you be climbing mountains? I'm not climbing mountains.
You know what? I'm not
climbing in my
quite
life.
That kind of overachiever yet.
No.
I admire them for doing it. Bill has tried to talk me into it a couple times, but I'm just trying to stick with the steady workout routine for
Look,
right
I
now.
got to be honest. I try to walk my 10,000 steps a day, but I have a hard time going up and down the steps. So the mountain is like a hard no for me. It's just
So, John, you've got at least come volunteer, enjoy the scenery, and I think if you volunteer, then I think you would. I think you'll see the experience, and then next year.
I did think about that. I did actually, Bill, I did think that I might sign up to volunteer and I would just be, but I wasn't going to tell anybody and I would just be on the mountain. Would you guys not absolutely just lose it if you're like trekking up the mountain and the first water stop, there I am, like, hey guys.
I'd love that. I would love that.
Absolutely.
Mountain climber cheerleaders. Yeah, we could be mountain climber cheerleaders.
Man,
there you go.
Those volunteers, when it's like
I'll sign up for that.
When it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're out there on the mountain, those volunteers are like, they're everything, you know.
Yeah,
or when you're dying and they're at the top of the hill ringing the bell, those, they're important.
I don't know if I'm going to do the 3 a.m. thing. I might take a different tact, Casey. I think I'm looking at like 9 to 5, and then going to have a beer and go to sleep and then get up and doing it again.
I actually haven't done the 3 a.m. I have been blessed to be able. I've been fast enough to be able to go to sleep. So I haven't been out there at 3 a.m. But my wife has. So she was not fast enough. She was all night long, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, when I went to bed at 1 o'clock at the last one, and she was still walking, and then when I woke up at like 7. And she was still walking, and I was like, "Gosh, she walked all through the night." And then the sun came up, and that must have been a blessing of like, the sun is coming up. But then to know that you got to still like at the pace, she still had another 8 hours to keep walking.
Wow.
So,
I think, Stace, you should be at the top singing Julie Andrews' song, "Climb Every Mountain."
Oh my God, too funny.
Hey,
all right.
Before we leave that though, congratulations to Heather who made that climb.
100%.
She finished like in the last few minutes or something.
Yeah.
So
we actually,
that was cool.
We actually did a podcast
podcast
with Heather and Emily both to let them talk about their experience and their journey. It was really awesome to hear, and just is such a great story. And I mean, honestly, like I said, women we're kind of badass. So
absolutely.
go girls.
Preach.
I agree.
Oh, too funny. Okay, so Pro
Speaking
Cheerleading.
of climbing mountains, let's talk about the Pro Cheerleading.
So we had you guys on to talk about the Pro Cheerleading when it was still kind of just in its inception, and we didn't have Casey on that call as one of the managers of one of the teams, and we are bringing you guys back on. You've had several events now, which is pretty awesome, and you're going to be in Nashville coming up soon. So tell us, what are all the great things? What are all the bumps in the road? I mean, give us all the skinny, the dirty. I know there's got to be drama. Like give it to us all.
We can get in. Let me brag on John Newby a little bit. I think, one of the things, last year we just announced, in April, we announced it internally that this was something that we were going to pursue. And then we didn't do the general public announcement till June. And so if you think about everything that had to get done between that time and standing up an actual pro league, I mean, from business structure to team formation to getting the athletes to doing the branding to getting the uniforms, it really struck me, Stacy. We were on, Nicole and I were on an ION call, and they were talking about the bugs on the screen, and just from we got a broadcast deal a month before the first match, and we're going over how to produce the show and all the little bugs. I mean, all of those little details, and to be able to stand it up and do as well at it as it did at the opening match, and we still have work to do. But John Newby and the team, the managers, the athletes, the people inside Varsity Spirit, our event folks, our retail folks, our marketing team. It really is remarkable. We're going to be finished with the first season before we even announced it internally.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
It's really crazy that
awesome.
we've been able to pull this off, and it's really been a combination of the Casey, the team manager, everybody just kind of recognizing that this is something that's going to be great for the sport. And it's something that we need to do collectively as a sport. And everybody has been super positive and really, rolled up their sleeves and contributed in major ways to make this happen. So couldn't be more proud of everybody.
I say this all the time, like, Varsity is literally the only company that could have pulled this off, especially in this time frame, and that's due to a lot of you gentlemen's leadership here. Because I remember coming into those initial meetings and like, man, this is a great idea. Yeah, we'll do this next year, and like no, we're going to do it right now. And the ability to be able to do that and have it as great as it is. I mean, like I said, we're going to talk about some of the hiccups in a minute, but the ability to pull that off, like, I literally don't think that there are many companies in the world that could do that. So pretty incredible thing.
Thank you, Casey. It's funny when Bill talked about him and Nicole, and Nicole's been so instrumental. She's been right by our side the entire time that talking to Ion, I remember them telling me for the first time, hey, this may actually be a live show. I was like, you're kidding. You got to be kidding me, right? And so not only are we trying to pull off a new event type that we've never done, you want to do it live. I told Bill, I said, are you sure you want to do this? You know what his response was? There's a first time for everything. So and knowing Bill, I knew that was his answer. So
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Of course, all of this was just so easy. I mean, I think you're blowing it out of proportion. It was just the easiest thing ever. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic for anybody that doesn't know my personality.
Well, and you're dealing with people, that are so passionate about what they do. The coaches and the kids, man, they're the most passionate people in cheerleading, and goodness gracious, there's so much emotion, so much heart, so much, that goes into this that, like I said, it's, and that's a pretty scary thing to put all that emotion and all that passion on a live television broadcast.
I got to admit, I don't know that I've ever been as nervous as I was before the first live show in Indianapolis. And, Bill, I appreciate the kind words, man, but I will have to say, and I'll probably leave somebody out, man, I think the value that I brought to the leadership of the professional cheer league is knowing, who we had on our team that could pull something like this off in a short period of time. And, it took people like Landon House and Rudy Sandoval and Maddie Gardner. I mean, just people who have other jobs. Matt Godo, Kip Winterout, Leroy McCullough. I'm probably going to
Damien.
Damien is all the strengths to all my weaknesses.
Man, another one. We can't leave out Kelly Thorpe. Goodness gracious, she may have the hardest job of all. Booking flights and hotels for athletes.
And hey, knock on wood, I was bragging on her the other day. I mean, with all the moving pieces and the flight changes and, through our first 3 events, she's gotten everybody there on time, hotel set up, so it's just been, my point is not necessarily. Had to do a little
police escort last week.
Yeah. We had a police escort from the Houston airport. The big rodeo was going on, and 2 athletes. I actually have a really cool video of it. Made it 30 minutes before the show started. So
wow,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Pretty wild. What has to. I mean, a lot of moving parts. A lot of athletes.
And I got to mention our production team too. Melanie Wignall, who doesn't work full time for us, has a ton of experience. Angela Schaefer. I mean, the team that they put together. There's so much going on behind the scenes. Richard Curtis, who's co-host with Maddie. I mean, it's been really cool. One of my favorite parts of this whole thing is just watching it's the culture that we built, that Bill and Jeff before us has just instilled in all of us, is we're going to figure out a way to get this done regardless of what it takes. And so the commitment from our people has just been probably, if not the single highlight for me, one of the top 3.
Agree 100%.
Richard is a cool story. We could do a whole podcast over him. Maybe get him on.
You should have him on.
We need to get him on, man. He's a piece of work. I love him.
Yeah, Stacy. I don't know if you guys can explain it better than me, but he's high school principal, right?
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, well, he was high school. He was a teacher for a while, principal. Now he teaches communications and media inside schools. He's big Philly guy. And
Philly guy.
Yeah,
we have to have him on then. He's got to be an Eagles fan.
Yeah, big time Eagles fan. Yeah, last year we had the second weekend of February happens to coincide with the Super Bowl, and it also is our national school spirit championship. Or last year was National High School Cheerleading Championship. And so he had his Philly jersey on, and he would take it off, go out, hand out awards, and he'd come back into the locker room, put it back on.
That would be me. I was at my son's soccer tournament in my Eagles jersey.
Bill, tell us, y'all share the story about how you found him.
Bill, you shared that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on, I'm blanking on the name, Kelly Ripa. Ripa. They had a national search for a sit-in for Regis and for a week, and he won it, and he went in and just crushed it. And we were doing some work with them as well at the time. We were like, man, this he's from the school. He loves kids. He pours into, just has this real genuine kind of authenticity around him, just loves young people, wants to do the right thing for him. He's all about making giving these kids kind of opportunities and training them so that they're successful in their futures. And he's funny. He's quick witted. So we're like, let's give him a shot and try him out at our championships. And man, he has just been, he does these live pop-ups throughout the event. He does the shows, and he's just a really genuine, great guy. And he's so curious. And you just listen to him on the pro cheerleading broadcasts, and he's hilarious, and he's genuinely just captivated by the sport.
Well, he's great, and you can tell that the guy does his homework. He doesn't have a cheerleading background, but he knows cheerleading. He knows it. So he's I don't know him very well, but he is.
We'll definitely have to have him on. We'll get to know him.
Cool guy.
I think he just got a free ticket because he's a Philly fan, I'm sure, to be on the show.
100%. Yeah. He just jumped to the top of the list. Look, we're booked out through August. We don't have any more. We don't have any room for guests. We had to squeeze you guys in, but he's a Philly fan, so we'll bump somebody else. That's good. Oh my goodness, too funny. Well, I have enjoyed watching it. The very first one, I was out of town and the television in my hotel room did not have it. And so I had to download some random app on my phone. I forget what it was but I could watch it for free. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I downloaded it and I was like sitting in my hotel room watching it from my phone. And I was actually, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I feel like to watch. I think Flash Pyramid is everybody's favorite. I know it's mine. I like all the games and stuff are really cool and different. And I think it feels like a fun sporting event. Even my husband was like, my daughter's not a cheerleader. She was a gymnast. She did rowing, but she loves watching competitive dance. Although I could never get her to be a dancer. She loves watching the dance teams every year UDA comes on. She's like, Mom, UDA's coming on. Are you going to watch it? And I'm like, yes, honey, I'm going to watch it. And so she wanted to watch the Pro Cheer League the other day. So we were watching the one, what was the one where Houston?
Atlanta, Houston.
Yeah, Houston. I was like, where were we just at? So anyway, we were watching the Houston one. I was watching it with my daughter, which is great because she doesn't do cheerleading. And my husband was coming by and he's like, this is actually kind of fun. He's like, I don't think I would mind. He watches sports constantly. He watches that stupid virtual golf. I'm sure you guys watch that.
Yeah.
Stuff too. He just thinks that's like the coolest thing that's come out all of a sudden. And so he watches that anyway. So he the fact that he would even be willing to sit down and watch it, he obviously works a lot of cheerleading events, but he's not putting it on at home on our TV. You know what I mean? Usually it's, so it's been fun. It's been fun to watch. And you guys do definitely make it look easy. And I know, from experience, it's not easy at all.
It's not. And one person we didn't talk about earlier, and we should because he's such a critical part of it, is Lark Wood. Lark has been instrumental in coming up with these games and these ideas. A lot of the coaches and team managers have been a part of this from the beginning. So we've been talking. I know Roger, from the Atlanta team and so many others have been involved in helping us develop these games and what they could look like. But Lark is he's kind of the brains and the creative energy behind how we're going to officiate these games. And Justin Carey Leroy and him are our official crew that work together. And so Lark's done an incredible job. And
he is living his
sticks
best
for the bullseye. It
Yes.
cracks me up. I personally am like laughing hysterically at all of them because I know all of them. And I'm like, this is so funny to me.
Lark is
They
living
put their
his
stick
best
down
life.
and it's all very legit.
After that first match, I was like, man, did you just watch dodgeball? He reminded me of the referee in dodgeball a little bit. He was like, actually, I did. And I was like,
He found his calling.
I got a text from my daughter after the second match. She goes, okay, I want to come to the Houston event and I want to meet Lark. He's my favorite by far.
That's funny.
He's been great. But Stacy, your point too, that, one of my grandsons after the first match in Indy, my daughter sent me a picture of him doing popovers, QP popovers with a stuffed animal that he was watching the show and was trying to see how many times he could hold a stuffed animal up. So it's been really cool to see that.
We've actually seen a lot of online presence of kids that are, emulating these games, even though obviously not at a professional level, but, doing the all girl TikTok, at prep level and different things like that.
Yeah.
And, I think that's going to be a huge impact to the growth of our sport. That's the thing. That's what I can instantly tell. Two things are happening. We're attracting an audience that wouldn't normally watch cheerleading, like you said, Stace. And then when the kids start to emulate what the pros are doing, then I think we're just on a great path of growth. And that was a big principle of this is what's it going to do for our sport? There's the impact that it has on the athletes that are participating at the pro league, but I think there is equally as important impact on the athletes that haven't even entered our sport yet.
Yeah. And that was one of our founding, kind of principles and guidelines that we looked at when Bill, that Bill always likes us to look at things as kind of funneling through this. What are we really trying to accomplish here and what's important? And that's one thing that's been on the top of our list since we started talking about the Pro Cheer League is how do we reach beyond cheerleading, itself and get a broader audience that's interested. I ran into a family that was at Houston. I ran into him because they had an obstructed view. We had to do something about it.
You remember you telling me that. VIP seating behind a pole.
Exactly. So we're learning a lot as we go, but we took care of them. But they were a local Houston family with 2 daughters who heard about the Pro Cheer League and bought VIP tickets to go to the meet and greet and wanted to see what was happening in Houston. So it didn't have anything to do with the event. They just came in for a Friday night opportunity to see what the Pro Cheer League was all about.
That's really incredible and promising to hear, because it's like, hey, let's spend this money that's just like going to a concert, let's spend this money to go to this concert because we love music. This may not be our favorite musician or our favorite band, but we love music. So let's go to this. We love sport. So let's go to this. Or, hey, it's a community event coming to our community. Let's take our family and our kids. So that's a pretty awesome story to hear.
Yeah. All the things with cheerleading. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome.
Well,
who would have thunk it?
Right. And it's one more, I don't know, thing that my eyes were opened, actually, and this may have been a MotUS thing, Stace. I don't remember where it came from, but just from dance, all the opportunities that dancers had, and not just in college, but they had the opportunity to go dance on cruise ships, to work at Cirque du Soleil, to do these different things. And I was like, man, I felt like, cheerleading didn't have as many opportunities as dance in that avenue. And I think the Pro League is one more opportunity. And I think it'll obviously lead to even more for cheerleaders that love this sport. It's a way for them to keep going. It's a way for them to strive for more than the all-star level or the collegiate level, and let them know that there's an avenue to keep going and continue into what they love to do.
Yeah. Stacy, you mentioned who would have thought it, right? I mean, I'll counter back and give Bill a little credit for this. Bill's been talking about this for a long time. And, he had the vision of what we're doing right now and talked about it for a long time. And he finally said to me, I can't remember when it was, Bill, he goes, I'm tired of talking about this. We're going to do it. And, let's figure it out. And I think that he might have been the only person inside Varsity that was that committed to it. But, we all know Bill well enough that once he sets his mind to it, it wasn't a matter of if we were going to do it, it was a matter of when. And so, the timing was planned out. And, again, we made that decision in a short period of time. But, I think Bill saw this all along, and it's pretty cool. I think
from when he was wearing his jorts at tryouts that I remember from his
maybe
book.
Not that far.
From that moment, he thought, like, we're gonna take this baby pro.
At that moment, I was Stacy. I was going to be a professional baseball player, and I was making a joke of a tryout. And
were you the one that jumped off the table, or was that okay? I think that was you, or was that somebody else? I don't know.
Yeah,
I get my stories confused a little bit.
They were like, they said, "Hey, will you? It's time to do your toe touch." And I literally learned everything that morning that I had to do that afternoon for the tryout, and so I did my best effort of trying to do a toe touch, and the judges took their books and they did this, and you could see their shoulders like laughing. You could see them. Then they put their books down and with a little smirk on their face, like, "Can we see that again?" And I was like, "Oh, they're going to make fun of me?" And I was like, "All right." And so I ran up to the judges stand, jumped up onto the judges table, and I jumped off of it and I did my toe touch, and I took my cowboy hat off, which I had on the whole thing.
Tryout.
Swung it around. It was like, and cut off Daisy Duke, blue jean shorts. And
if you want to learn more about that story, you can read it in the Pioneers.
That's right.
Here.
Yeah. Like this. Hold on a second.
There you go. Marketing moment. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
He's
Very
got
cool.
it right there. I don't see any dog-eared pages on there. You need to get to reading that a little bit more.
Right.
So.
It doesn't look like it's been creased very much, Bill. I'm just saying.
Man, I remember getting talked into, I didn't cheer in high school or anything, getting talked into trying out for cheerleading in college. I was actually more concerned that I was going to make it than not. I was like, man, what happens if I make it? Like,
I didn't even think about that, Casey. I knew I couldn't make it.
I wasn't fired up about it. I didn't know what it was, and then a week later after I made it, and hours in the gym and learning to stunt and all that, then I was, I hadn't stopped since. I have stopped stunning since, but I hadn't stopped cheerleading since. So
look at you both now, right? Career
We all had, that's the thing. Cheerleading is still young enough, or the cheerleading as we know it, especially professional and all-star and just cheer at a high level. It is young enough that hardly anybody in it that is in our generation, we all had different plans,
Oh yeah. 100%.
You know what I think I'm really excited about, honestly. I watched, I've watched all of the matches so far, and I thought to myself, what's really cool about this? It's been a while, I feel like, since people have been, I don't want to say excited to watch cheerleading. I don't mean it like that, but we talk about this all the time. It's like because of social media and video and everything else, the parents are holding up their cameras. They watch their team. The venues aren't always necessarily packed all the time. Like certain events, yes, but not every event like it used to be. And people creating new things and wanting to like innovate. Cheerleading was always so much fun because we were constantly like, whoa, did you see that thing that nobody saw that we just they just invented, and then the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I feel like this is going to bring that back a little bit. It's going to continue to push the sport and just make people want to try new things that they, haven't done before. I don't know. It's bringing the fun back, I think, to it some degree, and just bringing the fun to watch the sport again. I think I think that's really cool. I was excited for that. I don't know that the world is feeling that, but that was something that I felt like, man, this is fun to watch, and I'm excited for that. And it's only going to make the sport better and harder, and bring more awesome things to the table. Which, to that point, I have to say, let D do the quad full already.
Free the quad.
Free the quad.
I mean, I texted Casey and I'm like, seriously, disqualified? Oh my God.
That's a good kind of segue into some drama, because
let's go.
That was part of the first thing. And, it was funny because that's where we started to see a little bit of cracks in, our management of our team, because, we had a team that was really upset that he was disqualifying this and that and the other. And then, Roger and I were talking and guys, we knew that was illegal. And Dee knew that was illegal as well. So chose to throw it anyway. And I don't mean that like he's a great guy and he's a great athlete. So it wasn't. I
think it was a great decision.
It
Casey,
wasn't.
You and I talked about that. Illegal or not, I think it was a great decision. It was brilliant.
Goodness,
Go
look what
D.
Maddie tried to cover for him. Maddie was like triple, and D was like, no, it was 4. I did 4.
Look what that's done for the league. That's the thing. Like, I'm going to do this thing, and it's
is it a sport if there's not a little bit of drama?
Maybe I get away with it, maybe I don't. But
I wore the button in Houston, so Paige gave me a free the quad.
Oh, wait.
The quad.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a button? What's the button?
Yeah.
Free the quad button.
We made buttons with his picture on it, holding up the 4.
I think I still have it in my backpack.
Somebody needs to send me one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on my backpack.
I got you. I know something.
It's funny. I was on the stage when that happened in Atlanta. I was standing next to Roger, and I said, we kind of looked at each other. I said, that was cool. He goes, that was illegal. Roger said, what he told me. So, that's
it's funny because afterwards. So we'll see if it becomes. But I remember it was Leroy. Like, why can't this be legal? Like this guy. I mean, let's face it, he did that skill easy. That was not hard for him. He's like, well, you got to think about the kids and people trying to emulate that and not get hurt.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I think that's fair for All-Star, but this is the Pro League.
Well, that was my argument of like, hey,
quad. We can still only do double fulls regardless.
Did we see the stunt where the girl was going head first towards the floor and the guy snatches her out of the air? D's ability to do the quad is far safer than that. But that's to me, that's what makes sport. That's the drama that's part of it of like figuring out where the rules need to go, because
Casey, plead your case to the commissioner right now on the podcast.
I mean, free the quad. Like the guys got it. Here's what I tell you. Here's what's funny. I told him, I was like,
who decided it was illegal? Who decided you could only do a triple? That's what I want to know.
Well, so I'll talk a little bit about that. We're pushing the limits already at the pro level with some of the skills that we're allowing that aren't allowed at any other level. And I think we want to do that, as safely and as reasonably as we can. And it doesn't mean that it might not change in the future. But, and to the point, I think, Leroy was making, and I agree with, pushing other athletes to those limits that now I got to do a quad to be competitive. And I mean, that's the triple we thought was enough for season one. So there's going to be a lot of things on the table. We're learning a lot.
D dropped the hammer and said, no,
the
4,
triple
baby.
Didn't win.
4.
Yeah. I actually told D, I said,
the
listen,
triple's yesterday's skill.
I told D, I was like, listen, man, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm guessing that this quad's going to be legal at some point. So you got to make sure that once that's legal, then you can throw the Quinn.
Yeah.
So. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, we're learning a lot, and we're talking a lot about, but it's not just us. It's not Leroy, and it's not me as a commissioner. We said from the very beginning, I mean, we're in this with some experts, team managers and coaches, and you got Victor Rosario and Kristen in there. You got, Rogers, who's an expert as well, Brad and Jody and the cheer. That whole group that we have, I feel like are some of the best minds in the industry. And so we'll be talking through what we do next season. Is there anything else we limit? Is there anything else we open up? And it's not just a decision of the officials or me as a commissioner. We're going to take a team approach on this as we move forward. So we learned a lot. Yeah.
I'm curious because, obviously I'm going to put my marketing hat on for a second. Like, it was brilliantly smart for him to do that. I feel like it's gotten a lot of attention. It's brought a lot of attention to the league. It's brought a lot of attention to Atlanta Air, to himself. Obviously, good decision. Do you think, you don't want obviously rogue athletes all down the road. So do you foresee as other professional sports where there'll be some type of repercussions, some kind of fine for that? Right. Do you decline to answer that question?
No, look, we're pretty open and transparent. That may be part of, what we look at in the future from, image and appearance, from social media. We are a real league. And so there are some guidelines we have for athletes, for coaches, when it comes to, purposely breaking a rule. That's probably not our focus right now as we get this league up and running. But some things we expected, some things we didn't. And, we're learning as we go. We're making changes. And we're teaching these athletes some lessons, too, along the way. That things aren't always going to go perfect. It's not what happens. It's how you respond to it sometimes. And, so we're trying to level some expectations.
I remember one time so this is not even at all in comparison to the pro league. So let me just be clear there. But I used to have to run, live shows for dance, and we would have, actors and singers and dancers. And I was always calling the whole show and then also talking to the backstage. So I had 2 headsets on. One was calling the show and talking to the lights and the curtains and everything else. And then one was talking to the people backstage. And so this would, go on for 2 hours, whatever we put on this production. And we would always have professional dancers that would come and they would kind of be acts in between and whatever. So this one guy, professional dancer, I'm in the wings, and he comes up and he starts his number in the wings, and his music comes on, and he goes out and he starts dancing, and he comes back into the wings and he goes, "This is not my music." And I said, "Are you a professional?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Good, get yourself out there and start dancing." And so I feel like that's, that's what it is. Like, it's a live show, right? We're not gonna just oops, go figure it out. You can dance, put on a show for a minute.
And I think you said something, John, that's important to remember. We also, it's our role to guide the athletes. They're also figuring it out. They're in a different spot than they've ever been. Yeah. And I think that the things that they have to compare it to, whether it's all-star cheer or college cheerleading, most of them have that background. And this is vastly different, And those are some of the challenges that we're dealing with our athletes. I had to have a discussion with some of the Atlanta Air athletes. There's a lot of good things that are happening here, but many of them don't have the vision of where this could be in 5 years, 3 years. And it's hard for people to see things that are on the horizon. And the reality is, and in any professional league, there are going to be some people that get some opportunities that others don't. The NFL, not everybody's paid equally. The Major League Baseball, not everybody's paid equally. What I think is important to get the athletes to understand, like when you see your peers get opportunities, are you looking at that as, man, that's not fair that I'm not getting those opportunities? Or are you looking at it in a different direction of, man, that's going to ultimately mean more opportunities for all of us, because that's the thing. I think that many of the older professional sports and baseball, when they see someone get a $500 million contract, they're not mad because they didn't get one. They're happy because they know that that's on the horizon for them. So clearly we're not there in cheerleading, but like I said, that's tough for our athletes right now because they're new to it, and they see, well, this person's getting this or this person's getting these highlights, but we want that, because it's going to ultimately lead to more opportunity. And that's a thing of sharing that vision with the athletes of just how big this could be for them.
Yeah. I think that's so important to keep reminding, and they're going to, your professional athletes will churn over time. So it's something you have to keep in front of them all the time. When we started this journey, I mean, again, John talked about, the guiding principles. We want to grow the sport. We want to make this family friendly. We want people to be able to understand the scoring. We want it to be easy to watch and fun and engaging. And so, the athletes you're going to have some issues, but I think for the most part, they really understand what we're trying to get accomplished, that this is a big moment in time for us and we've got to get it right. And I think the athletes have been, there've been some couple issues here and there, but the athletes for the most part have been really, I would say, really focused on what we're trying to get accomplished collectively, to grow the sport, to inspire the next generation of young people to come up in the sport. And it's going to be important for us as the league and to be aligned to always keep those guiding principles in front of us and go, okay, if you have an athlete that steps out of line with those guiding principles, it's easy to coach them in a way that say, look, you agreed with this, you signed the athlete paperwork. So, here's where it went off. We need to get you back in line here. Let's try to avoid that in the future. When we did it with Team USA, when we launched Team USA, nobody thought it was going to be a thing. I had to literally call people like Jackie Kennedy as she was working at Inside Cheerleading.
That was in our gym. We were part of
right. You guys were part of that too. And I called Jackie. I'm like, Jackie, I need you. And she's like, why? I was like, because we don't have enough people to make up Team USA and you're good. You can do it. But when I lined up the thing, it's those guiding principles. You're representing your country. You're representing your sport. This is bigger than all of us. Everyone that's a part of this journey, it's bigger than us. And we have to serve it in a way that's going to give other opportunities for other people to come in and be successful.
And these are the first. There's a future, and the future hopefully is better, because that's the reality. Everybody gets bigger, faster, stronger. So that's the thing I look at as an athlete. You want the future to be better, but there's never going to be another first. These kids, this group, that's the thing that I keep telling them. This is such an opportunity because they get to lay the foundation. There's never going to be another first.
Stacy, I feel like another Pioneers of Professional Cheerleading book coming out sometime in the future with all these athletes highlighted.
Sure, I'll add it to the list. I would be happy to write the Pro Cheerleading book.
Hey, buy her book.
Yeah,
buy her book.
We've had some issues we've had to deal with. We've had one issue in particular that we had to, do a little bit of a warning. But the response that we got from that athlete was one of the most professional that I've ever received, and it's
awesome.
I completely understand. Thank you for calling this to my attention. No excuses. And so that was really refreshing for me. We dealt with an issue, and the response from the athlete was, again, one of the more professional ones I've seen in my entire career, honestly. So I think that it's an opportunity for us to teach them a little bit. It's more than me. It's more than Bill. It's more than the team managers and the coaches. We're trying to build something great here. It's about the greater good of the future of cheerleading and how much this pinnacle could mean to, the next generation.
Well, Stacy, you got to come to the Nashville event and go to the VIP experience. I think that is, for me,
do you know somewhere I could get a ticket?
Yeah, we got you taken care of. Red carpet. We're going to have
some books. Bring some books. We'll sell some books there. We'll have a book signing. But you watch, one of the things I like to do, I don't watch all the routines. I like to look around and see what else is going on in the area. And you go to the VIP Plus and you see these little kids running up to these athletes. That's cool. And I think that reinforces to the athletes the greater responsibility that they have. And you can, it's so cool to watch and see. And they get, I think that helps, having that experience helps the athletes really understand the impact that they're going to be able to have on the sport. You know what, Bill? We haven't talked about this. I was concerned about that going into this. These athletes are competing for 2 hours live show. We're going to send them straight to a VIP meet and greet, with the fans that, they bought a ticket for that. I've been so impressed by the athletes and their approach and, their attitude is just, it's been so cool to see. Golden State, they've got a chant that they do with kids when they come up and they kind of stay together as a team. Some of the other athletes, are spread out for a reason. They're, there's more demand for them, but it's just been really cool to see the athletes just buy in to this late night awesome. VIP meet and greet. It's usually us having to shut things down because they're signing autographs, taking pictures, and would stay longer, I think, if we let them.
Honestly, that's a great point by both of you guys. And I think that's really what kind of pulls our athletes back in. The reality is each team has high-level athletes, and they're all used to winning, and they're all highly competitive, and they've been on winning teams. And that's something we've struggled with Atlanta Air. We haven't found the competitive success that we want to find just yet. So that weighs on them. But I will tell you what, when they walk upstairs, nobody likes to lose. But when you walk upstairs and, man, the kids want the autograph of the losing team just as much as they do of the winning team. And there are literally some people on our team that I don't know what the term for it is, but they're not huge names. Like they didn't have that all-star experience. And they are just loving the fact that, kids are coming up with their programs and please sign your picture and sign my shirt and sign my hand. And that is the piece that
I think that you're going to build a following, hopefully, Atlanta Air, you're going to have fans. I'm a fan, my daughter's a fan. We root for y'all and we want to support y'all. I was a Phillies fan in the 80s when they were losing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this year we're a little underdog story, but next year when we come back to dominate this thing,
I said that to my daughter. I said, Avery, I said, honey, I said, Casey, I said, you watch. I said, Casey Jones ain't going to have that. And I said, they'll come back next year and they're going to be dominating.
Well, it was cool to see. And, parity is important. You can't force it, right? In this first year of the league, but it was really cool to see Atlanta and Golden State going to the winners bracket in Houston,
Agreed.
And so I think there's some areas of specialty even now that
I was just going to say
those teams have honed
absolutely
in on,
and there's some great stuff that you guys have been doing. I feel like it was your two stunt partners that really kind of kicked off the TikTok challenge. I feel like, and everybody kind of trying to be, and girls and boys actually, if I think about it, right?
Yeah.
And really kind of pushing that and trying to beat that bar, which has been awesome and fun to watch. And I have no doubt that Atlanta Air is going to be the reigning champs forever and ever to come because I just know that's what's going to happen.
The dynasty's coming. It
is. Everybody look out. I'm saying it.
I can feel it in the air.
I love it.
I'm saying it right here, right now.
Air don't care. Air don't care.
For everybody that can't see, Casey just held up four
fingers, baby. Four fingers. So, that's the thing, though. It did come on so fast. Those are some lessons we've learned, and Roger and I were talking the other day. And we're like, professional team, professional athletes. We had this attitude that we thought that hey, these guys are pros. They almost don't even need to practice and show up. They just show up because they're professionals.
How much are they practicing?
So we get about 40 hours a month of practice,
so that's
of allowed
that's
practice
not
time.
a lot of time, really.
It's not. But what we've realized is, it doesn't matter how good somebody is. Everybody needs direction. Everybody needs accountability. And that's where we kind of dropped the boat a little bit on our team early on. It's like, it's going to be okay. These are professionals. Well, they needed a little bit more direction. They needed a little bit more, in our practice time, and definitely have learned some things that we could have done better, initially, and learned a lot about what we need to do next season. And that's another part that's really tough for me, because I'm a relationship person, and I build relationships with folks, and I want them to be loyal to me, and I want to be loyal to them. And here's the professional league of professional players. 2 weeks ago, I was going to call John and be like, man, can you get us 20 new uniforms? Like, I'm going to bring in 20 ringers for this thing, and I need those in a week, but like trying to build
I wouldn't be surprised. That would not surprise me one bit.
But trying to do that versus like, hey, these are the people that laid the foundation. These are the people that stuck by us for this first season. And hey, we might not be where we want to be competitively, but what's the right thing to do here? And
I think it's been good for the cheerleaders in the sport to watch that it's not, Atlanta Air had a really great full routine, and then they had one where they didn't hit, and then I'm going to forget, somebody else had a really great full routine. It might have been Dallas Drive, and then they made some mistakes, and forgive me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember all the things. But the point is, I remember thinking like, man, they did a really awesome thing right there. And then the next week they came back, and or the next show they came back, and it wasn't perfect. And I think that it's important for the kids to understand, like, even the best, most talented, most, incredible athletes in the world are not perfect every single time. And that's kind of the nature of the beast. And I think it's been really good as somebody, as part of the sport, not as like a spectator that's not a cheerleader wouldn't appreciate that. But I feel like as a cheerleader, to kind of educate the kids, like, this time I did 55 TikToks and then I dropped after 20 because sometimes it just happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Aaron Judge strikes out, athletes drop passes.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley fumbles now that he's with the Eagles. He didn't fumble with the Giants.
He does not.
I think that's the thing, though, that makes this different, because there is a routine piece, but then there's the games, and the reality is that we've all realized, like, man, you can get dead last in the routine. If you win all the games, though, then you can win the competition. Yeah. So I think what you're going to see in years to come are more specialists, people that are like, hey, I am here to win big trick.
One thing.
I am here to be the highest tumbler, which
and it's just going to drive.
Okay, tell everybody that highest tumbler's coming back.
It's back for Anaheim.
Yeah, I think that we should add a female highest tumbler as well at some point, just because I think it would be great to challenge the girls. And I think that we've got some girls that can do some really awesome tumbling. And no, that most of them aren't going to tumble as high as the boys, but to have their own competition, I think that would be awesome too.
So that reminds me, Stacy, since we got these two guys here, literally I was on the stage at the first event and you were texting me. And you were watching and you were like, this really is great. This is phenomenal. I am enjoying this far more than I thought I would. I love it. I wish there was more emphasis on the female athlete.
Yeah, I did say that, just because, we're a predominantly female sport. Yeah. I realize, I love the co-ed part of it. I was a part of a co-ed collegiate team. I had coached co-ed teams, cheer and dance. So, and it brings a different aspect to it. So I think that's great. But I think that, there is a lot of focus on what the men are doing. And so I think having the women involved more and highlighting the women, I think would be awesome, because they're pretty powerful and awesome at what they do too, so.
It's definitely on the radar, Stacy. That's one of the things that we've been talking about as we look towards next season. We talk about other games and other options with the games that we have. So that's definitely been on the radar.
I do have one other suggestion if you guys want to hear it.
Yes, give it to us.
So it took me after 3 shows to think of this, but after the third one, I was like, oh, you know what? They have all these kids, you have their numbers on their jerseys. It's a uniform top, but I'm going to call it a jersey. Their names should be on the back of their jerseys as well.
They were supposed to be, Stace.
Okay.
Like literally, I've got all the name patches. And I may be the guy that ditched this, because we've got all the name patches, because they sent them. And we were trying to come up with a way to Velcro them on, because the reality is we were like, hey, it is cheerleading and the roster is going to change, and it's going to change, from event to event. So being able to have the uniforms and have the names on them, especially
our
year
intention
one
was to have the names.
Yeah, I mean, because
it's coming next year.
We will in the future. Yeah,
I totally think that. I mean, you will definitely start to build a following, and people will like Saquon Barkley, like he's my guy. Jason Kelsey, love him. He's my favorite player. You know what I mean? Like, and people are gonna do that. So I'm glad it's on your radar. That's
but
awesome.
just so our listeners know, and I think this is a really important thing for the league. The athletes have to be onboarded to be able to come onto a team. So if I decide on Tuesday that I want somebody to be on Saturday's event, that's probably not going to happen, because we want to make sure, and the league wants to make sure, that the right people are representing the league. So there's a pretty intensive, background checks and onboarding period and things like that all the athletes have to go through to make sure that we are having proper representation for the league. So, that's a challenge as well of like, hey, I want to put this athlete in here. Like, I've got to give them I got to get them a new uniform. I got to have their name on the back of it, but I also have to make sure that it's imperative that they go through that process of the onboarding. So, which I think is pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool. Casey, you think it's time for dad jokes? What do you think?
Oh,
I think it is. All right. Hopefully it's a good one today. So, all right, guys, what do you call a happy camper? What do you call a happy camper? Either one of you guys do any camping?
Very little. Very little
not
camping.
Very much of a camper.
You came to my camping site.
I did. That was a pretty nice camping site.
Yeah.
All right. You call a happy camper a jolly rancher.
Oh, I like that. Hadn't heard that one.
Speaking of camping, my wife right now, she is in Montana on a retreat at a working ranch. It's actually through the 29029, the same group that we're doing the mountain climbing with. They do a retreat. So
Nice.
I hope she's a jolly rancher while she's there. Then.
I was at a competition at the Sevierville Event Center, Casey, and we were staying in those cabins, those beautiful cabins. And one of my coaches, I was in the kitchen downstairs. I know y'all have stayed in those cabins. Mm-hmm. They have three levels usually, and I was in the kitchen. And I heard one of my coaches shriek. Like, I thought that there was someone upstairs in her room, like murdering her. And all of the male coaches were downstairs in the basement, and I was by myself in the kitchen. I grabbed the like iron skillet that was in the kitchen, and I go charging upstairs like I'm going to protect her against whomever has entered the top floor of the cabin. There was a flying squirrel dead on her bed.
Oh.
So that's kind of my level of camping, is those cabins. And even then there was creatures.
It's better than a bear.
Better than a bear for sure. But yeah,
I've done a couple backpacking trips, out into the backcountry where you are truly, living off what you have.
Of course you have.
It's a pretty cool experience. So
I would do that if I had to do that.
So I don't know. I love I guess it's a lot like cheerleading. I kind of thrive on those emotional highs and lows, because that is, to me, that is backpacking. It is like, man, you will climb this mountain with 40 pounds on your back for 3 straight hours, and you are cussing and like, why did I choose to do this? And like, this is the dumbest thing ever. I could be at home. And then you come to the top and there's this beautiful vista, and you're like, oh, look what God created. Like, I was meant to be here. This is awesome. 30 minutes later, you're cussing again, and then you end your day and you're exhausted, and you got to cook a meal, and you got to build your house. You got to put your tent up, and you build your house, and you get comfortable, and you get in there, and then you wake up the next morning, you tear it all down and do it again. So it's literally lots of highs and lows, and pretty cool thing. So much like cheerleading.
Very much. Good analogy.
Well, be sure to send us your favorite dad jokes so that we can share them on the show. You can submit them now on our brand new website, the MotUSEdge.com, which is super awesome and exciting. You can send your dad jokes there, or you can DM us at Join Motus. And with that, we're going to talk to you a little bit about CheerFest summer camps. Looking for the ultimate cheer camp experience? CheerFest is the summer camp for athletes ages 7 to 17. Imagine 6 days of nonstop cheer, dance, tumbling, conditioning, and fun led by top instructors across the country. And the best part? You'll leave with new skills, new friends, and memories that last a lifetime. Spots fill fast, so register now at cheerfest.com. That's CheerFest.com. Don't just cheer this summer, CheerFest. All right, gang, we are back. We are back for some fun questions.
Rapid fire, molasses fire, as Bill termed it.
Yep. So we'll have So we call these rapid fire questions, but then Casey always wants to talk about them and dissect them, and so it ends up becoming a slow process. But anyway, it's fun. It's a good opportunity for our listeners to get to know you a little bit.
Rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Sounds like you need to be in maybe a cheer mix, Bill.
Oh my God, that's so
maybe
funny.
you need to talk to Bode, who
dream of mine, Casey. Yeah,
he loves cheer music. He loves
Bode, who does the cheerleading music. Let's see if we can get you lined up for some voiceovers.
Oh my God, too funny. All right, Newby, we'll have you answer first, and then Bill, you can go second. So, all right, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Wow, any historical figure. If Jesus counted for that, it would. Sure. I would have Jesus on my list.
All right,
for sure.
All right, I love that.
That's pretty cool.
Bill,
I was thinking Ronald Reagan.
I knew I wanted to go first. I knew there was. Okay, so if I couldn't do that, then I'll do John the Baptist. How's that?
I like it.
All right.
I like it.
You were going to say Ronald Reagan, Newby. That'd be your second choice.
Yeah, he popped to mind, but not before Jesus. So
I like that. All right. If you could time travel, where would you go?
Is that for Bill?
Well, you're first. On every
I'm
question.
first.
Yeah.
Forward or backwards?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I think I'd probably want to go to the future. Like maybe 50 years, 100 years from now, see what's going on with my grandkids and, their families. And so I'd definitely say I'd rather glimpse into the future.
I am so pumped because that's the thing I say, like we've asked this to a lot of people.
Everybody goes to the past.
And I always ask, I'm like, why didn't anybody go to the future? But that is a great, and a lot of people have said, I don't want to go to the future. I don't want to know. I don't want to know if I'm going to get sick. I don't want to know. But what you just said there, like, hey, I want to see the success of my kids and my grandkids. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I love that. Bill?
I want to go to tomorrow. And then I want to mess with everybody when they get there with me.
Because you already know what happened.
Yep.
I love that. I want to go to tomorrow as well. That's great. That's a good answer. Okay, Newby, one thing you can't live without.
My wife.
Good answer. Good answer, sir.
He's taking all my. I got to go first. Come on, this is like
Bill,
we can switch it up.
You can go first on the last two. You can go first on the last two.
All right, so I can't use that one.
You could say your wife. If you want. That's fine.
My wife. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
We got great wives, by the way. I mean, they keep us so grounded, and it's nice that they get along. We've been friends for a long time, and they are too. But they are the strength to both of our weaknesses. It's funny. I think I'm more like Bill's wife, and Bill's more like my wife. They're similarities, and so it's pretty fun when we get together.
I love y'all's wives, but man, I love my wife too. I agree. I wouldn't be anything without her. So.
My wife is awesome as well. No, my husband is amazing. Also, I love him dearly, and he is definitely my biggest fan, my biggest supporter.
Sweetest things about you on stage at your book.
I was so proud of him. He did so good.
Sweet.
He did so good, and I don't know how he prepared because he was helping me prepare for everything, and he didn't
have to.
And he said, "I don't want you to know what I'm going to say." So we never practiced. and he just did his thing.
Chris did a great job.
Quick story. He was like, man, everybody told me I need to shorten this up because it's like 6 minutes long, and I'm not doing it because I want to say what I want to say, and I'm going to do it.
I love it.
He did. He was adamant. He's like, I don't care. I'm your husband, and I've been asked to give this toast, and I'm going to say what I want to say. I don't care how long it takes.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
Too funny. All right, Celia, you go first this time. What is your go-to comfort food?
Ice cream.
Oh, that's a good one.
I am ice cream, and I like. I get mad at my wife for getting it because I just can't stop eating it. Like I could eat a gallon of ice cream. Not kidding. In one sitting. Yeah.
I love it. Newby, how about you?
It's pizza for me. I don't eat a lot of it, but I love. And there's a couple places, local places here that I love. I love a good pizza.
You New York style deep dish, or it doesn't matter?
Thin crust for sure. New York style. There's a place here called Memphis Pizza Cafe that they make it thin and crispy the way I like it. But I love Domino's thin and crispy pizza. Actually, I like the thin and crispy selections.
All right, there you go.
You know, that's actually how pizza in Italy is typically thin and crispy.
Yeah. And I'm like, how bad can it be for you? It's thin and it's crispy and it's got vegetables and,
100%.
I mean,
I had pizza in France, and they literally brought it out of the pizza oven and cracked an egg right in the middle of it. And oh my goodness, that was I've never seen that anywhere else, but that was delicious. So like
French pizza, there you go.
Kind of a runny egg in the middle, and man,
outside the box.
Okay, last question. Bill, you go first. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I like it.
That was quick.
I actually remember years ago, it was probably 20 something years ago, and forgive me if the team is listening, but there was a cheerleading routine, an all-star team that was building a pyramid to that song, and they were all down on the ground. And I was like, there wasn't a cheerleader standing. It was a collapse. And I was like, that's just karma. Like, you just shouldn't have picked that song.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'd have to go with like "Don't Stop Believing." I won't sing it like Bill did, but that's
come on,
Johnny.
Don't stop believing. That's all I'll do.
I know John's a good dancer, but maybe he ought to leave the singing to Bill. So
I'm a good freestyle dancer, Stacy. No routines, but I can freestyle with the best.
I love it.
John is known for his dancing.
I think we've been around each other dancing before. I feel like we've been somewhere while there's been lots of dancing going on.
Yes,
I'm sure. Not a dancer. I have no rhythm, so 2 left feet.
Oh, my goodness.
Guys, we got a question for one of our listeners, Derek from North Carolina. He wants to know, do you know if the Pro League has plans to add new teams next season, and what criteria they're using to decide which markets or organizations get selected?
That is a great question. I'll take that one, Bill. I mean, right now, part of the challenge for the Pro Cheer League is getting through this first season with 2 matches left.
You're like, that's too far in the future.
While we're trying to figure out what next season looks like, it's under consideration for sure. We're looking at, events. We're looking at potential, expansion. I think for us, we've got a consulting group that we work with. Now we've got a live TV show we have to consider. I think, geographic considerations are important. And then finding, like we did, the right team managers to partner with in certain locations is going to be critical to that too. But geography, I think, plays a big part of it right now. So, as we start to consider, more West Coast presence, we're missing, Midwest right now, Northeast. So I think that's some of what initially we're talking about for the future. But we are looking at the option to expand, to add, 1 to 2 more teams and to look at an event schedule that spreads out the season a little bit more.
Awesome.
Good question, cool. Derek from North Carolina.
Thanks, Derek. Keep the questions coming. So I got a community win. We love to share these. We really love doing this podcast and hope that it helps others. So it's nice to hear when it does, but this is one of those. So MotUS Edge, episode 30, hit me hard when you talked about burnout and how gym owners wear exhaustion like a bag of honor. That was me. I was first in, last out, coaching every team, handling every issue, and I was running on fumes. After that episode, I promoted one of my senior coaches, gave away 2 teams, and committed to 1 night a week completely off. My gym didn't fall apart. It actually got stronger. And I remember why I started coaching in the first place. That's program director and mom of 2. And I think that's a pretty important thing because many of us gym owners, we've got families, and our families often sacrifice a lot for us to be with other people's kids. So it is important to build some boundaries and
that was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys today. I happen to be it's a crazy time right now for all of us, I feel like, and I feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends and in the middle. And I was literally still like checking emails and answering things on my phone at like midnight last night. And my husband was like, he woke up from a sleep and was like, you need to turn it off. And I finally did go to bed. Now, partly it might've been the coffee that I had in the afternoon that I don't typically drink, but in any event, the point is I stopped for dinner, but other than that, like I worked all through the night until midnight. And then I woke up this morning and I intentionally left my phone on my dresser, which I never do. And I came downstairs for 30 minutes, got my kids off to school and went back upstairs. And after 30 minutes, it wasn't even 8:30 in the morning. I had 15 text messages, 56 emails. And I was thinking about you guys because I knew that we were getting ready to do this podcast today. And I'm like, I want to ask them, what do you do? I am struggling with work-life balance all the time.
Yeah.
How do you, what do you do? Because, you're not that much older than me, but you are a little bit older than me. And so you've been there, done it. I need to know the wisdom because I'm really struggling with that.
John, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think there's 2 things that I try to do that are important to me. One of them is a morning routine that I've kind of forced myself not to look at my phone until I do. I've got probably about an hour routine in the morning. I try to get up 5:30 or 6 o'clock. It's funny. I'll wake up at 6 on the dot, probably 80% of the time. It's just natural. And so I've got a routine that I get into. I look at my phone just to see if I got any messages overnight, if my kids are okay, grandkids are okay. Right. After that, I put it away. So the morning time is really valuable for me. I work out every morning too. I don't climb mountains, but I've got a routine that I do. And so I really don't get going work. I try to not ignore it, but not pay attention to what's going on my phone until about, 8 o'clock in the morning. I get, then the focus shifts. And the other thing that's helped me is on my calendar, I purposely block, if you try to book an appointment with me, if I left my calendar open, it would be full. And so Bill, I think actually recommended this.
I'm trying so hard to get better about that. Yeah. But then I end up, I'm like, oh God, we need to have this meeting or I need to have this conversation. And I end up chipping away at the time that I have carved out. That's either just for myself or to do work that I need to get done or whatever. I try to do that every day and inevitably the time is gone. And it's my fault because I give it away.
I use some of it, sometimes, but a lot of times I don't. If I don't do that, then I've got an email to write or return or, I keep everything in my inbox. So if it's in my inbox and my email, it means I still need it there for a reason.
I'm the same way.
And so that's how I manage it. And I think blocking that time for me has been super critical, and I'll make an exception every now and then, but not, 80% of my calendar that I block throughout the week and throughout the day. Some of it's on Monday, some of it's on Friday, and then there may be an hour or so here each day throughout the week. But if I don't do that, it'll get filled up. And so those are just a couple of things that I do.
So when you don't take my call, I know I called during that block. So
yeah. I say that. That's funny to your point, Casey. I know you guys are in the gym, late night too. I feel like I'm never really off the clock. If there's an urgent issue that needs to be dealt with, I'll deal with it at 9:30 at night. So yeah.
Bill, you got any additional tips or wisdom?
No,
anything you want to lecture me on?
I'm a terrible person to be asking this question.
Okay.
He's not very good.
So you and I are in the same ball.
Yeah. I say yes to a lot of things. I'm super active in the community. I'm on the Chairman's Circle, the Chamber of Commerce, Vice Chair. I'm CEO Build for the Habitat for Humanity. I'm the chair for the St. Jude Marathon, and I say yes to too much, but one of my missions in life is to be exhausted and when I die, and be able to look back at my life as being able to impact. So I do block my schedule during the week so I can get done what I need to get done. I'm like John. I get up at 5:30. I get my workout in. I do my quiet time. I am disciplined, pretty disciplined about that, and it does take time. But you have to experience that discomfort of saying no during those blocks. That you've got to get your time, and then I'm in bed by 9:00. Like
I typically am too, but the coffee yesterday is just kind of
yeah. Well, that's
when I'm starting my workout. I'm a night workout guy.
Exercise, get your nutrition, and get your sleep, and you're going to be more productive during the day.
Yeah,
and then really guard your block time. Guard it, and
that's where I need to do better.
Yeah,
I'm horrible at work life, but I love to work, and it's part of life. Like I just like it, but I don't know. I feel like I got to have something to train for. So every year, like an event has to go on my calendar that I have to train for. And I usually want that to be hard so that it's not that I had to train the week before for it. I want it to last some time. And then I used to not do this, but try to do it more. Like, our family, we vacation a good bit, during the year because, it is go like hell. But, we're going to take the spring break. We're going to take the fall break. We're going to take and Heather and I always travel right after Christmas together without the kids. So there are for sure going to be 3 family or Heather and I events that are pretty substantial vacations every year. So.
Well, we're super excited to be hosting the MotUS Edge podcast live from CX Brand's Nashville Nationals. Also getting some fresh insight from parents and coaches. Yeah, so we're going to be recording it live at the event, which is super fun. Be sure to tune in March 18th when the episode airs. We also have a review from Chris, who's an assistant director and coach from California. As someone who's not the owner but helps run the day-to-day, this podcast has been huge for me. It's helped me understand the bigger picture of the business and step into more leadership at our gym. The advice is straightforward and actually applies to what we deal with in youth sports. I've shared multiple episodes with our staff. That's super exciting.
That's cool.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we've started sharing some of our fun reviews and community wins. It's been good stuff. So we do have a giveaway today. So if you are still here listening to this podcast, you have a chance to win a free book of your choice from SR Fabrico, aka Stacy Rowe. When you subscribe to our podcast at the MotUS Edge, leave a review, like, and comment on social media at Join MotUS. And if you comment on social media, in order to win, you have to comment, "I am a pro cheer league fan." So comment on our social media. Nice. I'm a pro cheerleading fan, and you could be entered to win a free book from SR Fabrico.
You know what? I'm going to throw in a free the quad pen to go with that.
Boom. Boom. People are going to come out of the woodworks for that kid. They don't want my book, but they want your pin. I love it.
That's funny.
I love it. That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on today. It's super exciting. It's been really fun to watch the Pro Cheer League get up and going and all the things. And it's exciting, and you do make it look easy. So
hey, thanks for having us on, and congrats on all your success with the podcast, the book. It's exciting. Lots of things going on. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thank you
so
guys.
much.
Appreciate your
Be
time.
sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the MotUS Edge. Check out our shorts, like, and comment. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Join MotUS, or TikTok and LinkedIn at the MotUS Edge. Be sure to check out our awesome new website, themotusedge.com. Follow our show wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you like what we're doing and you want to hear more, leave us a comment and tell all of your friends. And if you're a gym owner, join the movement today and sign up for MotUS. Thank you guys so much for listening. We're excited for you to have the MotUS Edge.
Thank you for listening to the MotUS Edge. We hope you had a blast. Join us next week for more on business, leadership, and motivation. Subscribe and follow the show where you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter at joinmotus.com. The MotUS Edge podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.